worlds apart. It's fucked now, we lost in limbo. Remembering what you said though, and I asked you if we'd make it far. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be. Then she said no, 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 no. No, 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 you should. I've earned the cost and now I've paid it. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, please don't go. I know my face a memory erasing. Been a few years since I heard your voice, yeah. Lost a few here, but it's not by choice, no. Girl, I see your face every day when I look through my phone. Can't delete all these memories, won't leave me alone. Hit my blind side, never saw it coming. You were so wild, but no, I was nothing. And I'm nothing now, nothing's changed. You know I'm just the same. Miss you now, but I hope that someday you explain. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be. Then she said,
Hello again, people. Hi. It's good to see you all. All right, we're back again. We're back. I was having a little bit of technical trouble. It happens. Tech happens. Right. All right, so we're going to just discuss some things in the Summer Wells case. And I thought this was an interesting article. Hello, my beautiful people in the chat. Hello. I'm a little early today, but because I'm going to show some stuff tonight, some interrogations and stuff. And hopefully you can hear this.
After crews have found no trace of the child. But tonight, News Channel 5's Nick bears with an exclusive look at how authorities investigate these cases from behind the scenes, especially when foul play may be involved.
Children never found. You need to go no further than the high-profile Joe Clyde Daniels case. His father was convicted of murder, but the boy's remains were never found. The question many asking now, what is the fate of Summer Wells?
This was day 39. Day 39 of Summer going missing. Day 39.
It's been 36 long days since the 5-year-old was reported missing from her home in Hawkins County, Tennessee. That is a long time for a missing child.
Try over 2 years now.
The longer you go, it is less likely that you're going to have a successful recovery. About 1% of children survive longer than 24 hours.
This, he'll say her name in a moment. I forget. I apologize. I forget her name. She retired from the TBI. So she, tells her experiences. Less than 1%, or about 1% of children survive after 24 hours. We're over 2 years. Doesn't mean Summer could not be alive. These are just the statistics.
And so we're hoping that Summer Wells is going to be that 1%er. She's going to be a 1%er.
Margie Quinn headed up the state's Amber Alert program for 11 years before leaving the TBI, and she is an expert in human trafficking. She's not involved in the Wells investigation, but she's followed it and knows abduction is a strong possibility, but not likely for human trafficking.
That's very interesting. Uh, and she's going to tell you why in just a moment. So, there's a lot of people that believe, Summer could have been HT, is what I'll say on here. Um, but it's very unlikely.
That's always the public's first thought is they've been abducted and trafficked. People who are going to traffic young people are not going to abduct them. It brings too much attention.
The Summer Wells case.
People who traffic don't want the attention on them. How that normally happens is they usually groom them in order to traffic them. They don't, they want to sneak them out, or, they usually, a lot of people go not even so much against their will, they go because of sometimes substances that they'll keep them in a house and just give them as much drugs as they can.
This has been highly publicized. If she were to suddenly show up on an internet site, people would know. She's not there. So what are the TBI and FBI currently doing?
I think in any case like that, especially where they've had, 800-900 different leads, and you've got to look at every possible angle.
Jeremy Lofquest is a TBI special agent in charge of working abductions and human trafficking.
So this gentleman here works for TBI, and he is one of the guys who does the abductions and human trafficking.
Sources have told News Channel 5 it now appears unlikely Wells just wandered off, or bloodhounds certainly would have found something. So
it's very unlikely that she would have wandered off because the bloodhounds would have found something.
the focus shifts more to foul play.
Yeah. They're shifting to foul play. This was day 39.
Agent Lofquest is not directly involved with the Wells case, but says it is being handled like other similar missing child cases.
You look at all the relationships, you look at all the circumstances there at the beginning, or what you think's the beginning, and
That's very interesting. I'm going to rewind that just a tad.
you look at all the circumstances.
You look at all the relationships. The relationships, i.e., the people on 110 Ben Hill.
There at the beginning, or what you think's the beginning, and follow the timeline.
That includes
And follow that timeline. How about that? After 3 p.m.
questioning parents, siblings, relatives, everyone close to the child, or those who live nearby.
Here we go.
Includes questioning parents.
I want to rewind that so y'all can hear
in
that
child
too.
cases. Handled like other similar missing child cases.
You look at all the relationships, you look at all the circumstances there at the beginning, or what you think's the beginning, and follow the timeline.
That includes questioning parents, siblings, relatives, everyone close to the child, or those who live nearby.
Neighbors are going to be interviewed, sex offenders in the area are going to be interviewed, anybody with a likelihood to have committed this kind of crime.
It's all been done, and still, after more than a month of searching, questioning, and hundreds of tips to the TBI hotline, nothing.
They have checked neighbors, they have checked RSOs, they have checked everyone that they can possibly think of. Barb, thank you so much, my love. Appreciate ya. Why haven't we heard the 911 call? Is that normal? Can a creator please ask Don about stealing dirty underwear? How old was he when he did that? We have a entire history of Don and Candace's criminal activity. And major events. It's almost a timeline of their life, like major events. I see you can probably pull that up and tell you if I'm sure she's. I haven't yet. I see you. Do you know how old he was? Oh, we're getting a big storm again. He was about 40. Yeah. Now remember, Benny found panties in Don's truck. Maybe saving 911 for court. So let's do this, and then I'm going to, okay, the question is, I see you, how old was Don whenever he stole the red panties? That's the question.
No suspects, no trace of Summer Wells. No one is giving up, but the simple fact is this: without any new credible leads or a person who knows someone coming forward, Summer Wells, like Joe Clyde Daniels, another 5-year-old who vanished, may never be found. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
Now the last part is very disheartening. Very disheartening to say the least, but oh, absolutely, YouTuber, lifelong offender. Lifelong offender. But the question is, so there have been FOIAs requested in, I can't think of the county's name, where Don Wells was working that day in, where was he? Jonesboro. What county's Jonesboro? I can't remember right now. I'll tell you in just 1 second. Hold on, Jonesboro. Give me 1 second. And I will tell you. Washington County. Yes. Washington County. Thank you. And there was no record of Don Wells calling 911 on June 15th, 2021. Now, JRLR, he talked about that quite a long time ago. Has any groupies asked him about stealing panties? What do you mean groupies? Like, has anyone came forward? Is that what you mean by that? So, anyway, in Washington County, there was no sign of Don record calling 911 that could be found. Now, Don says, well, let's play it. Let me just play it. How about this? This is the interview room. Not the interview room, sorry. This is Josh from the lab. And Chris McDonough.
Shady like that.
Well, I'm not saying it's shady, Don, and you're not saying, I hear where you're coming.
Let me see if I can find it here real quick.
They feel like it's their fault even. You know,
I think I think he's going in and out of.
Candace wouldn't lie to me about any of the facts. She has no reason to, you know, I mean.
But and so, reasonable deduction. He's like, well, nothing could have happened. Nothing did happen. The only thing that could have happened is an abduction, and that's his reasoning. You there, Don?
And that's based on Candace not lying to him.
Correct. Yeah, yes, he's standing by Candace for this.
She wouldn't lie. I think somebody said.
Are you on Wi-Fi at the moment?
This is when he was having trouble.
Early on. And, remember the time when after, quite frankly, that program, when it first aired with Candace, I mean, she was actually put in a pretty good light. I mean, very fair, balanced people. There's a lot more to the story, but, the
thing of it is, see, I live with Candace. I know Candace. I know her emotions. I know she's got a severe.
See, I've always thought more Dawn if there was something intentional. Like if something intentional happened on June 15th, I think it would be more Dawn than it would be Candace.
Broken heart. You people don't see that side of her. You've seen a lot of negative things, and I apologize for that. Yeah, we've turned to alcohol and everything else. We're screwed up. But you guys haven't seen her broken heart like I have. I've seen.
They're still drinking.
Seen her mental state. I know how badly she's hurting, and I know how much she loved her little girl. And I know even if there was a mistake, she knows better than to do something shady. She would call an ambulance. She would call law enforcement right away. She would never try to do something shady like that.
Well, I'm not saying it's shady, Don, and you're not saying, I hear where you're coming from, and I respect what you're saying, but you and I both know we've been around the block a couple of times. And people get stuck. And when they get stuck, they panic. And that's not shady. That's just a panic.
Yeah,
go ahead, I'm listening.
It's nothing like that. I know in my heart, I can try to, convince you guys all day long, but I know in my heart somebody took our daughter. I know that.
Okay, how do you know that?
Just by, like I said, by her emotions, everything.
Guests team.
Hold on.
Add guest.
Candace put on a good show when she called Mary. So that alone should let you know that she can cry at the drop of a hat. And I think she cries for herself, to be honest with you.
Anthony, and not only that, you guys are leaving out a hell of a lot.
Well, like what? What are we leaving out? So let's not leave anything out.
Okay. My boys were home. My boys were the very last ones to see my daughter.
Okay.
They were upstairs, remember, playing their games. I've talked to my boys, extensively during the police interviews and everything else. The police took my boys to specialists because they can't just outright question them because they're underage. And they talk to them, and I've talked to them, and they feel bad. They feel like it's their fault, even. But I tried.
Now, do y'all remember when one of the boys allegedly said, "Mom, it's not my fault. It's not my fault." We're going to get to that in a moment.
Try to assure them that
There we go.
Why would they think it's their fault? Just because they were the last ones to see Summer?
they're going to keep blowing up my phone. I don't know why they do this.
That's all right.
Because like you say, they're more concerned about what they're doing. But
Right.
Don, why did they, or why do they feel guilty?
Okay,
Why,
well, let me explain. Because, okay, Summer wanted asked them to please go downstairs. And then she wanted to go downstairs and play with toys, and they wanted to play their games. Which I understand. They wanted to, they all had phones and games, and
yeah.
they was watching.
Hold on, I'm going to try something with the microphone again.
In that building. I can't remember what it's called, where you build stuff on the TV. I don't know what it's called, but
Probably Minecraft.
Is that better? Was that better?
yes, Minecraft. That's it. Yes,
Minecraft is what we used to call it.
right.
Let me know. Justin played that again. Did he just say Summer asked the boys to go downstairs to play with her toys? That's what. Well, yeah, that's a good point. Let me play that.
And when I say we, i.e., a lot of people, and I think even yourself, I really believe that, if you're not there, then Candace is. And I think that you are, maybe this was an accident, and there's a lot more to the story, but you
Well,
got.
the thing of it is, see, I live with Candace. I know Candace. I know her emotions. I know she's got a severe broken heart. You people don't see that side of her. You've seen a lot of negative things, and I apologize for that.
Well, what we have saw is 7 children being taken away. And that it is an extraordinary amount of proof that CPS has to show in order to take away a child, particularly at birth.
Yeah, we've turned to alcohol and everything else. We're screwed up. But you guys haven't seen her broken heart like I have. I've seen her mental state. I know how badly she's hurting, and I know how much she loved her little girl. And I know even if there was a mistake, she knows better than to do something shady. She would call an ambulance. She would call law enforcement right away.
That's what Dawn says she would. But I have a theory on that, and I'll tell you guys in a little bit. Just a theory, it's a hypothesis.
She would never try to do something shady like that.
Well, I'm not saying it's shady, Don, and you're not saying. I hear where you're coming from, and I respect what you're saying. But you and I both know we've been around the block a couple of times, and
Yeah.
and people get stuck, and when they get stuck, they panic, and that's.
And when something, if there was an accident, and in the right situation, people do panic and they don't know what to do, and they don't have time to think it out clearly, and then that's when the mistake and or a cover-up can be done in cases every day.
It's not shady. That's just a panic.
Yeah,
And,
well, she
and
isn't.
go ahead. I'm listening.
It's nothing like that. I know in my heart, I can try to, convince you guys all day long, but I know in my heart somebody took our daughter. I know that.
Okay. How do you know that?
Just by, like I said, by her emotions, everything we've been through, and not only that, you guys are leaving out a hell of a lot.
Well, like what? What are we leaving out? So let's not leave anything out.
Okay, my boys were home. My
Okay.
boys were the very last ones to see my daughter.
Okay.
Okay, they were upstairs, remember, playing their games. I've talked to my boys, extensively before, well, during the police interviews and everything else. They they the police took my boys to specialists because they can't just outright question them because they're underage, and they talk to them, and I've talked to them, and they feel bad. They feel like it's their fault even. But I try to assure them that.
Why would they think it's their fault? Just because they were the last ones to see Summer?
They're going to keep blowing up my phone. I don't know why they do this.
That's all right.
Because like you say, they're more concerned about what they're doing. But
Right.
Don, why why did they, or why do they feel guilty?
Okay.
Why,
Well, let me explain. Because, okay, Summer wanted asked them to please go downstairs, and then she wanted to go downstairs and play with toys.
So in that time that Candace saw Summer go inside, and she also walked over to the house and said, which I never understood, why would she hold her hand and halfway over and watch her go in the door, and yet go without, go again over there and say, watch your sister. You don't walk, like you would have walked her all the way over. You wouldn't have held her hand halfway and watched her go in the door unless she just stood there and watched her go in the door, and then she went to the door and said, guys, watch your sister. And then Summer would have had to say, let's go downstairs. And then Candace walks back, this is her, and helped Grandis with the knee brace. Doesn't make sense.
And they wanted to play their games, which I understand. They all had phones and games, and they was watching that building. Well, I can't remember what it's called, where you build stuff on the TV. I don't know what it's called, but
Probably Minecraft.
yes, Minecraft. That's it. Yes,
Minecraft is what we used to call it.
right, right.
But go ahead.
But yeah, so she went downstairs by herself, and next thing you know, Candace comes in after helping her mother. That's her.
There has always been a lot of blame placed on, obviously they haven't directly blamed uh, the kids or anything like that, but they have put a lot of weight on the boys. We're going to talk about it.
Words. I wasn't there. I'm going by what she said.
Okay.
But also, I'm going by what my boys said. Okay.
Did she fall down the stairs, Don?
No.
Okay. Could she have?
Even if she did, I had some side barriers and stuff, and You know,
And I'm not saying
top of the hill, and there was like one.
Here we go. This is what I want to play right here.
And when I got off the phone with her, as soon as she hung up, I called
There we
her.
go. Hold on one
And
second.
they looked for a while and couldn't find her, and she called me, and I says, "Hang up for me, call 911 right away, just in case."
So she called me and I said, hang up and call 911 right away,
You know, you can't find her right away or whatever,
just in case you can't find her right away or whatever.
sure, call 911. And when I got off the phone with her, as soon as she hung up, I called 911.
Okay, this is important. As soon as I got off the phone with her, I hung up and called 911.
From where I was at, and they had to switch me over from the 911 operator to the 911 operator in Hawkins County.
They had to switch me. He said, I called 911. 911. Okay. Now, if you go to JLR's video from several months ago, he did a FOIA in Washington County. There was no record of Don calling Washington County 911 that day. There's none.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he called 911, Washington County, where he was at. That's the county that he was at when he was working in Jonesboro. And they had to transfer him to Hawkins County.
And I flew home as fast as I could.
Right.
And then when I got there, I drove straight to the bottom property.
So, Don, this is what he's saying. Candace called, said, we've looked for Summer, we can't find Summer. Don said, hang up and call 911. So they hung up. Candace allegedly called 911. Don allegedly called 911 from Washington County. They allegedly transferred the call to Hawkins County. And this is the interesting part. After he, I guess, hangs up with 911, did he call Candace back? And is that when he talked the entire way home? See what he says.
Just because I know I have a good view of the hill, and I see my neighbor to the left of
Hold on.
They looked for a while and couldn't find her, and she called me, and I says, hang up for me, call 911 right away, just in case, you know, you can't find her right away or whatever, just to make sure, call 911. And when I got off the phone with her, as soon as she hung up, I called 911 from where I was at, and they had to switch me over from the 911 operator to the 911 operator in Hawkins County.
Mm-hmm.
And I flew home as fast as I could.
Right.
And then when I got there, I drove straight to the bottom property, just because I know I have a good view of the hill, and I see my neighbor to the left of me. I seen all three of my boys to the right of me together, like I told them, always be together. If you're gonna.
All right. So Don says he pulls up to that building, which has always been interesting. I don't think that was an accident why he pulled up to that building. He says the boys were down there looking for Summer. And then Jody Sue.
Gonna be out off the hill anyway.
Now, never mind.
And when I seen that they were down on the bottom property, basically looking around, and she wasn't on top of the hill.
Justin, if they haven't been arrested yet, I don't think they will. Well, I disagree. I completely disagree. I do believe that there will be an arrest.
I figured she wasn't there, and then that's when it got real crazy. I
Listen to
drove
this.
up to the top of the hill, and there was like one or two police cars there at that time, and of course they're questioning us, they're doubting.
Oh, he pulled, he did this weird thing by going down to the building. The first thing you're going to want to do if your daughter is missing is you're going to want, and you don't know where she's at, you're going to want to go to the exact place where she was last seen. You're going to want to talk to Candace. You're going to want to see Candace. But Don's down at the building, and he says he pulls up there. There's one or two cars. They're questioning and they're doubting. Because if you've ever been to Ben Hill Road, nobody, in my opinion, went up there and took that kid. Without them knowing, that's for certain, in my opinion.
I felt in my heart right then that she was taken.
What were they doubting?
Chris got it.
Well, I was trying to tell them that I don't think she's here. I think she's been taken because if she wouldn't leave the top of the hill. She wouldn't leave from around the house.
Mm-hmm.
If your child goes missing, you don't instantly think of someone taking your child. You think they've walked off, they're hiding. You don't think, especially where they're at, 30 minutes from an interstate, uh, you know, you just don't think of someone coming up in the middle of nowhere on top of a hill that you can't see the house from in the summer at all, and someone taking your kid.
I had her pretty well. I mean, I show all my kids videos on YouTube of what because we got grizzly bears, we got wild dogs and other things, and so I was worried.
That's what Don always says when he gets uncomfortable. Oh, because we got grizzly bears.
That they, so I showed them things to try to put a scare into them, not to be wander off. And Summer would not wander off by herself. No way.
Barb, you didn't answer why the 911 calls haven't been released. Um, I don't know. Um, it could be, there could be valuable information on it. Um, Usually they allow 911 calls to be released. Now, Tennessee is extremely hard to get FOIAs from, especially if you're not from Tennessee. And particularly in Hawkins County, they don't like to give you stuff. They don't like to give you stuff. And it could be that there could have evidence on it. It could be where, because of where, I mean, maybe where it pinged, the 911 call, where he was at. I don't know. Like, it's. On an old show of Ziggy's, he hinted that she did wonder. Well, if Summer was around those woods, they would have found her. They would have found her.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
So when Candace went down the first time, it sounds like she went looking for Summer.
She got in her mother's truck.
Did she go into the basement?
Well, yeah, she looked all over it first, of course.
And that's when she called you.
Yeah, when she couldn't find her right away, she called me.
Okay, was the door open or closed, if you remember? Was it locked?
Well, I wasn't there, and we try to keep that basement door locked.
This is another interesting thing. Don's like, well, I wasn't there. Well, in the beginning, Don said the door was unlocked. In other interviews, he said the door was unlocked.
Okay. Because, people have said
I
that
told the boys to
you're
keep
the
it
only
locked,
one with the
leave it
key.
wide open all the time.
Right. But people have said,
Yes, he said he locked the basement door every night, or made sure it was locked every night. And they have like a deadbolt that, you know, then that day was supposed to be nobody in, nobody
said
out.
you're the one.
No,
Go ahead.
there is no key to the basement door. I think we lost that.
Okay. What
We
about
just locked it
what
on the
about the
inside.
deadbolt, brother?
Well, we just lock the regular lock. We don't lock. Well, we'll lock the deadbolt if we're in the house. We can lock the deadbolt from the inside on the basement. We use the upstairs door if we're going somewhere or whatever and lock that one.
Okay. That morning when you woke up to go to work,
Right?
was that door opened or closed or locked or open?
I assume it was locked because we lock the doors at night.
Okay. So at some point, then, if you're assuming it was locked that morning, which way did you go out that door or did you go back out through the kitchen to go to work?
I go upstairs and we go to the kitchen to get in my truck and head to work.
Okay. So you go to work, but that day you didn't take your truck, right?
Yeah, I've used the Subaru the day before.
Why does Don change it in this interview? I used the Subaru the day before. That wasn't what Chris asked you, Don. He asked you what you used the day of. And he says, "Oh, the day before. I took the Subaru the day before." That wasn't the question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And he doubles down on it.
I had fired Dudley because I was sure he was on meth and acting all crazy and stuff. I mean, just out of his mind. And I even looked on YouTube as to how people act when they're on meth, and he fit every single one of them.
Yeah, because, Don has to Google people on math. Right, right. It's not like he's never been around a math head. Um, I mean, this man has admitted to being in places where really bad things happen to children. Never has to Google, math. What is it? What does someone look like on math? But talks about math morning, noon, and night.
Oh, Don, dude,
Well,
come on, man. You've seen 1,000 people on meth, bro. You don't have to look on
well,
YouTube
yeah,
for that one, buddy.
well,
Come on. That's like a cop looking around for donuts in a donut shop and not knowing what they look like. Come
you
on.
guys, you hear me? Hey,
Yeah, I can hear you.
okay, what are we laughing about? Hey, I don't deal with meth
No, no,
heads
no.
often.
I didn't say you. I said
You've seen meth. You've seen people on meth
you've seen
before.
people on meth. I mean, it's kind of
But,
crazy to look on YouTube. And what I said,
well,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, you tend to forget after a while, unless it's something you're dealing with all the time, you forget little things like that. But I knew he was out of his damn mind and saying all kinds of crazy stuff, and he couldn't do his job. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that dude. Anyway,
Okay. All right. That's fine.
he's been proven that he just got busted, for all the charges he's got. That's
Right.
all I
All,
need.
all drugs, no problem. So let's get back to you decide to take the car that day.
I took it the day before, I think, because I've been driving my truck for a long time. We went through.
Okay. See, he says it again. He says it again. No, I took it the day before. We've been through this. Very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable, Don is talking here. Something dinged. I need to see what happened. Lead Alive, 12 months. Oh my God, thank you. Love you, Justin, and I see you and our beautiful mods. Thank you, sweetheart. You are amazing. Let's give you a round of applause. Thank you so much for your support. It keeps the little choo-choo train going down the tracks. Appreciate it. Okay, I want you to listen to this 10809. Okay, listen to this.
Car that day.
I took it the day before, I think, because I've been driving my truck for a long time. We went through this already. I just wanted to put some miles on the Subaru. So,
Okay, so you wanted to drive the Subaru and you loaded it up with all your
yeah,
stuff.
the day before. And
Yeah.
the day
That's three times in that interview that he says he took the Subaru the day before. Okay. What did you take June 15th in? Did you take something that, you know, your truck that doesn't have, you know, satellites in it and doesn't send the motor engine software, doesn't send it to the maker or anything like that? Don't know. Barb, thank you so much, my dear. He told his bizarre story about picking up a 15-year-old girl on the corner and took her to the pimp, and they were doing crack. He forgot how people act. Bingo. Bingo, Barb. It is there somewhere when he says he took the Subaru the 15th. Not on this one.
the day before, we had actually had a welfare case where somebody called and said I was letting the kids run around.
Listen to this, because we're going to get deep into this in a minute. About that CPS case.
Or we had actually had a welfare case where somebody called and said I was letting the kids run around with loaded guns, which was totally idiotic and stupid. So they closed that case the day before. That night, about 7 p.m., they was out there and closed the case.
Thank you,
And the
Barb.
very next day, Summer's gone missing. But anyway, back to what you saying.
No, that's fine. So somebody had snitched you off that there was a CPS problem of some sort?
No, they said we was letting the kids run around with loaded guns.
Okay. Well, and CPS worked through that. We don't need to talk about that stuff.
Right.
Okay. So Don is talking about the CPS. And so I want to read you a message about who called CPS on Don and Candace about the children with the pew pew situation. I'm going to read it to you. I think something bad has happened to this child. My daughter, best friend, is friends with the family. My daughter came to me a couple weeks ago upset. She sat down and told me how she had visited this house in Beach Creek with her best friend and best friend's grandmother. She told me that they were shooting the dogs with BB guns and smacking the kids around. My daughter got the address for me. I called DCS. Why would they bring a supervisor back to close the case? Okay, so I don't know why the supervisor was there. Now, I can tell you from what I've asked my friend who works for CPS, and she says many times they will bring a supervisor if it's or another worker if there is a safety concern, like if it's out again in the middle of nowhere. The parents have had that could be hostile, violent towards CPS, you know, in the past. So uh, that doesn't mean that is, I don't know why CPS came, or the supervisor came with her. I don't know, but I'm just saying those can be reasons. According to Dudley, Don was work until late on the 14th and looking like, yes, he had lost his best friend, but CPS gave them bad news on the 14th. Yes.
Yeah, they closed that case the day before.
Okay, that's cool. So let's go back to that morning. What time do you wake up?
As soon as the sun hits me, you know, I don't set an alarm because I usually work late. So as soon as the sun hits me and it's morning time, I just get up and go and work as late as I can.
And are you working 7 to 3 or what's your typical hours?
I usually get up and when I go, I work until I just can't stand it. It's hard to walk no more or whatever. I work as late as I can, try to, you know, make good money. You know?
What's the earliest you wake up?
Maybe 6 or 7. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Summertime, June, probably about 7.
Okay, so about 7 o'clock in the morning, you get up, you go out. Where was Summer that morning?
She was right next to me.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, like what? I mean,
Well, you tell me those memories.
you know, she usually plays all day, and then she would always ask me, say, Dad, will you take me to bed because I'm tired, you know? And so I'd always take her downstairs. I put her in bed and cover her real good, make sure the doors are locked and everything like that. Get her to sleep, and then you know, I might stay up for a little while longer or whatever. But she would always want to go to bed a little bit early, more early than us.
And what time did she go to bed the night before?
Probably about, you know, 8:30, maybe 9, something like that.
Okay, and what time did you go to bed?
Not probably shortly after.
So when you got down there, was she already in bed?
Yeah, she was asleep.
In your bed, i.e.,
Yep.
your Candace. What is that, a king or a queen down there? I can't remember.
It's a king.
Okay, so she's sound asleep or is she awake?
Sound asleep.
Okay, and you get in, and then what do you recall about?
I'll be right there. I'll make it short. Just give me a minute. Give me a few minutes.
Okay.
Maybe.
Good point. Sun don't shine in a dungeon.
Hey.
What? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Hold on. Okay, I'm fine.
That's fine. So,
Everybody's giving me hell because I'm trying to talk to y'all. I mean, you know how it is.
yeah, I'm a lightning rod. You know, it's all good though, because they don't trust what maybe you may be saying is maybe heard in different ways.
Well,
Right?
everything that's happened, I mean, you know, it's been bad.
So you get in the car, you go to work. What time do you get to work around?
I'm not sure. You know, it takes me an hour to drive out there, so 45 minutes or so. So
Okay, so you're probably there by 8.
probably.
And when you got up, where was Candace at 7 a.m.?
She's still asleep next to something.
What time, if you recall, did she come to bed that evening?
About the same time I did, I'd say.
So around 9 o'clock the night before?
9 or 10, something like that.
Now, in the past, you told me she used to hit, around 5 o'clock every night, and then she'd kind of zone out. Is that still in play here, or is that
5 o'clock every night.
Huh?
5 o'clock every night. I don't understand.
Well, no, that she would, take the load off of the day by, maybe having a drink or something, maybe hitting a bowl or something to that effect, back in the day during that time. I mean, was.
Well, we used to drink a little, but we never had any problems with our. We keep it pretty much at a minimum. We never had like real alcohol problems until all this happened, and then
Yeah, no alcohol problems, right? I mean, just the police and have been called multiple times and DV reports and kids, poor Summer crying in the background saying she's scared of her daddy or he hurt her. Yeah, no problems with alcohol.
It got pretty bad.
Okay.
But
So you recall maybe around 9 o'clock, give or take, right?
yeah,
That
but we're
she,
gonna we're
go
gonna
ahead.
have we're gonna have to speed this up. I mean, we need to get something.
Don doesn't like this because Chris knows how to interview and he can read through his bullshit.
I mean, we've already been through
Well, I
all
mean,
this.
this, honestly, Don, this, I mean, this is for you, not necessarily us. Like we're just,
Yeah, I don't
we're,
care. I care
we're,
less.
Josh throws it back on him, which is a good idea.
Summer.
I mean,
yeah.
that's what I said. There's a lot of missing kids. There's a
Well,
lot.
yeah, there are, and I've been part of it for 40 years.
Yeah, what's
So
going
you're preaching to the choir, and that's why I'm trying to help you.
on? Okay, well, I mean, we. Here's the thing. A lot of people on your chat said that they want me to tell the truth. Okay, well, we've always told the truth, but nothing has wavered in our story. You
Right.
know,
The story is consistent with a couple of, I mean, you know, and I know, I mean, even, and everybody knows, I mean, they've heard it, unfortunately. Sometimes people make mistakes making statements. I mean, that's not an uncommon situation.
well,
All
I mean,
right.
I'm telling you the best that I can from my memory, the way
Right.
it all happened. I wasn't there when Summer was missing, but I can tell you what I know from my heart and Candace's heart and what she's been through. And I've never seen anybody so tore up in my life. And I
Okay.
feel very, very sorry for her.
So
And
let's
then
clear,
top
let's,
it all off,
can
all the
we,
YouTube drama. Yes.
can we clear up the 911 rumors
Okay.
where, the call, to 911, and then you hear the dispatcher say that mom went on a walk. What did Candace tell you she said?
Yeah, I don't know why the how that got confused like that because Candace, I mean, she's got four kids there. I mean, I don't know how that got misconstrued or whatever, like it did, but it was miscommunication somehow. I don't know how that happened exactly. I have to ask Candace, but it was just a miscommunication because she never went on a walk.
Mhm.
What she said she helped mom with her knee brace and she was always helping her mother with all kinds of things. She's getting older, um, and I'm sure she was telling the exact truth.
When in some of the rough interviews that you've been with, because you were interviewed, I'm sure, by the card team, by the FBI and Hawkins, TBI, everybody, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And,
Um, no, he did not. Uh, Patty. Chris was successful way before um, YouTube, respectfully.
they wanted you to do a poly.
Yeah,
And
we all three done polygraphs. And me and Candace passed our polygraph.
right, but not the first one.
But not the first one. Yeah, exactly. Um, Now I want to show you this. Let me find it here. Which one do I got it under? All right.
Yeah, I'd give Summer.
All right. So this is Voices Behind the Wall with Cher, an interview that she did. And this is Dawn talking about CPS. CPS, Dawn, he doesn't like CPS more than any of us YouTubers, and that says a lot. So, and he'll actually say that.
A CO2 BB gun with no BBs in it, and she liked to go around and go pow, pow, pow. She loved to do that. And she'd say, Daddy, it ain't got no whatever in it.
So we know that guys, we're not going to entertain anyone who has a different opinion on a creator. We're not going to fight about creators. If they have a different opinion, you know, they can create a channel. I don't know if they have a channel or not, but we know that the boys played with GUNS, and Don clearly has the CO2 GUNs as
and
well.
I put it in the CO2, and I still have CO2 cartridges in my gun cabinet.
Yeah.
And those guns, just little, you know, BB guns or whatever.
Yeah.
And they come up here and like, oh yeah, we're going to close the case. We're going to close the case. The welfare caseworker come up here on the 14th of June, about 6 or 7 o'clock, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, somewhere in that time frame, and said they're closing the case. But for some odd reason, she brought her supervisor up here with her.
All right, so there's pictures that are out of, you know, the kids that Candace and Don released, showing GUNS, right?
And yeah, they were eyeballing my kid.
Okay.
The supervisor and the original caseworker at that time, since we've been through 3 caseworkers since that time.
Even though they were closing the case.
They've been fired, or they went somewhere else, or whatever. They have a high turnover rate in CPS.
They do, yes.
Yeah, I mean.
Everywhere, yep. I know that's true, yep.
And they says, well, we're closing that case. Well, almost exactly 24 hours. To the second, Summer come up missing.
Really? That
Yes,
quick?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
From the time they closed the case the night before,
Wow.
the next day, Summer come up missing.
Day. So less than 24 hours after that.
24, almost 24 hours exactly. Summer come up missing. And then almost 48 hours later, we're dealing with all these cops up in here, fucking pushing us around, asking all kinds of questions, tearing our house upside down. Do you know that they searched our house 11 times? They come through here, you know what? I'm not trying to talk shit about fucking Hawkins County and shit like that or whatever, but we allowed them motherfuckers up here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cuss.
It's okay.
But they come up here 11 times. No, they come up here, we let them come up here about 11 times total and search our property. And even sometimes when we weren't even home, and turned everything upside down in this fucking house.
Are they allowed to do that? Wait, they're allowed to go in your house?
If you let them, yeah.
Oh, so you let them,
Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. What's going on?
Did CPS drive a black Escalade?
No, they didn't drive a black Escalade. They had a white, Ford. Okay, hold on. Let Candace is trying to tell me something. Hang on just 1 second. Yeah, no, it's not your fault. What? No, it wasn't a black Escalade. It was a white. Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Candace is saying there were 2 vehicles and one of them was a black Escalade.
So, I mean, they haven't tore anyone else's house up 11 times.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
but I don't remember seeing a black Escalade. But that's her story.
Someone says, Dawn, please. I think I heard her say that once before. There was 2 vehicles.
Okay, I'll hold on.
No, it's okay.
Candace is saying there was a black Escalade parked down below,
Okay.
but
So
I
they
didn't
were
see that.
they were definitely like watching like a hawk
Yeah, I
on
mean,
you
they was
guys.
all up in our business.
Yeah.
We've never had no trouble before in our lives till welfare got involved.
That is absolutely not true. They've had
Yeah.
it their entire lives.
We have had no trouble whatsoever. Everything was hunky-dory until
Right.
welfare showed up in our fucking lives. Out of our trucks time and time again,
What,
turn
your
our whole
cars
house
too?
upside down. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
They took apart Don's truck. They literally took it apart. Like the dash.
Yeah, they throw everything out of our trucks and throw it on the ground and just leave it. You know, he's dealing with all this kind of stuff.
You know something? It's normal for them to come to, if you have a missing, person in your home, it's normal for them to come and look very thoroughly. What's not normal is parents complaining about it, acting like it's an inconvenience for the, that, they came there and searched. Well, they've searched every, child that's went missing home, and I'm sure multiple times, but you don't see them complaining about it. Oh, well, they threw everything out in the yard and all that. Well, hell, it was thrown everywhere anyways. You couldn't tell the difference, probably.
And then about 48 hours after Summer come up missing, here comes the welfare again. Oh, we got to open a new case because of everything that's going on. But see, if I would have been smart and know how to deal with CPS, I would have told them to get the fuck off my property before I fucking shoot you.
Well, maybe not
I
the
was-
last part.
No,
But yes,
oh,
like to
no,
get
no,
off.
no, 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 no.
Well, I guess
Yeah, yes,
a lot of
well,
people don't understand the country
I wonder
culture
what
as
I
well,
know
right?
now. Yeah, I would have shot him in the
And
ass.
thank you, Tits McGee. I want to hear from them and not hear say. Yeah, we understand that. Didn't mean I meant on the 15th. Okay, they want to know where the.
So, there's that. Now, there's a lot of photos that, or some photos, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's photos out there of the kids being very small. This, let me find it here. This photo is from 2018. I mean, and, they're 2018. Okay. Let's go to a possible theory, because this is what we've been doing in this series, talking about theories that have been made in the Summer Wells case, from the watering hole. We're on, I think, our 12th one now. Hold on one second. So I don't want it on autoplay here. All right. So this is Summer Wells accident theory, and I want to note this is a think tank. We do not know what happened to Summer Wells on June 15, 2021. If you have any valid information that could help the Summer Wells case, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Sorry, this forgot to take that part off. All right. So on June 14th, 2021, according to Summer's parents, Don and Candace Wells, they account that CPS come to their home at 110 Ben Hill Road with someone calling in stating that they are allowing their children to play with pew-pews, right? What Justin is showing the photos and playing what Don said. Justin isn't saying this. Yeah. Okay. So I can show you. One second. Let me take this down. I want to read to you guys what the person who called CPS on them for the GUNS. She said, I think something happened to this child. My daughter's best friend is friends with the family. My daughter came to me a couple weeks ago upset. She sat down and told me how she had visited the house in Beach Creek with her best friend and her best friend's grandmother. She told me that they were shooting the dogs with BB guns and smacking the kids around. My daughter got the address for me and I called DCS. No, CPS didn't take apart the truck. TBI. Okay? So, let me find this. So Don says 24 hours later, Summer shows up missing. She shows up missing. Now, I wonder, we're doing a think tank. I wonder if CPS came there and talked to them about the BB guns. And Don just said that he showed CPS the BB guns or whatever that they had. I wonder if they actually did close out the case on June 14th, 2021, and left that evening. Don and Candace's guard could have been down after that, and they let the kids play. I don't want any names used in this chat of any children. Don't name the children. If you name the children, it's going to be deleted immediately, mods. So I just want, do not name children other than Summer. But I wonder, thinking, since CPS left, if they did come about the pew-pews, the woman said she called because of that. Don says, and Candace says, that's the reason they came, is because of the guns, the BB guns, right? June 15th rolls around. The kids are playing with their BB guns or CO2. CO2 is a lot more powerful than just a normal BB gun. And they can result in death. They definitely can result in death. And I can absolutely show you cases. Ben Waggy's air rifle death accidental. And these are different, they're very powerful, the CO2 air rifles and the pistols, right? Thank you, Daly. Appreciate it. So, if there was an accident that day, Don and Candace, this could be a reason why they didn't call 911 if if there was an accident and the day before CPS came about the pew-pews, right? And let's say, for instance, an accident did happen on June 15th. Well, Don and Candace are going to panic if that happens. CPS was just there yesterday. They said, oh, well, no, everything's fine. No air rifle made the in the holes outside. Coons and possums. It accidentally been PP'd with a BBP. So, well, let me show you this. Find it 1 second. Let me update this. Most children in the U.S. GUNS is the #1 killer of children in the United States, unfortunately. And from, I think, 2019, I think the graph said, guns are the death among children and teens rose 50% in 2 years, from 2019 to 2021, which is when summer obviously went missing. But that, like, if there was an accident, in my mind, that would be one of the only reasons that I can think of why they wouldn't want to call for, like call an ambulance or whatever. Because CPS had just been there the day before. And Don's a felon. Particularly if there was, if it wasn't like an air gun or something, God forbid it wasn't something like that. The scent dogs would have alerted to any of that, though. Not the. Well, they would have alerted to. You see, I think something happened down into the building area. Remember, the first few days there wasn't cadaver dogs or anything like that. There wasn't anything possible. Yeah. And to be honest with you, like, some will tell you that cadaver dogs can pick up just moments after death. Some really good cadaver dogs can do that, but it's just, to me, if something happened there, they thought very quickly, and I'm just not sure, in my opinion, and I'm not a professional, I just don't think she was there long enough for the cadaver dogs if something happened. Yeah, I remember that, Pamela. My only hang up on the accident theory is that there is no tears unless they came back up to push the abduction theory, but no tears for that either. And yeah, Benny tased himself to make Candace laugh. Muffled screen pillow, can't believe I even went there. They put tasted them and tased. Read the letter she wrote Don Wells in jail. She said she felt like dying 6/15/21 and then again 2 days later. Yeah, but the 2 days later is when CPS came again. Yeah, tased, not tasted. But there are many deaths related to air pellet guns, particularly children, because obviously, like, things can happen. Now, you know, if there was an accident, then this may be why CPS and this case has taken longer. Where was that thing? The Center of Disease Control and Prevention's mortality database, the study published on Monday in the AARP journal Pediatrics, found that 4,752 children died from gun-related injuries in 2021, the latest year for which data was available, up from 4,368 in 2020 and 3,390 in 2019. All right, where was this? But I can show you just multiple where accidents does happen. So the motive would be, you know, avoiding charges. CPS, I mean, if you are allowing, particularly if you lied to CPS, if CPS actually didn't talk to you on the 14th, and you avoided them the 14th, Don says they didn't though, but if, you know, you told them that, oh, this didn't happen, you know, I'm not giving the kids these guns or anything like that, then, and something happens the very next day, well, you're in trouble, because they're gonna, I mean, they would panic. They would definitely panic. Oh my God, CPS was here the day before. I said, you know, nothing going on here. She's 5 years old. Which, you know, they could be charged for. I thought Don hid every time CPS came to the house. And, you know, I've wondered, you gotta, you know, work these theories, and it's all gotta make sense. I wondered, why would Don and Candace, or Don particularly, Why would he go down 3 hours after Summer was missing in this theory? And I thought, well, Fred has actually shot someone before. And whenever you're in a situation like that, in a crappy situation, you always go to or try to find someone you can relate to in those situations, and you want to talk to them. A dog is only as good as the trained as the handler. We've got a lot more theories to cover, but you know, then you have one of the kids saying, "Mom, it's not my fault." And then you have the Wells always saying, you know, that the kids feel like it's their fault. Well, I mean, they can feel like it's their fault for different reasons. You know, we don't know their reasoning and why it would be their fault. They make it feel their fault. It could just because they didn't go downstairs and play with her. With DV, CPS most always wants parents to separate until they are dealt with. Yes, we have talked about that for sure in other situations. Just a few streams back, maybe 4 or 5 streams back, we talked about how CPS can separate. You know, a lot of times, most people think about CPS separating the child from the parents, but many times CPS separates the parents or one of them inside the home. One theory I had was Candace left Summer in the car and the windows were up. I mean, you know, another thing is, you know, when he was talking about the heat theory, Candace said Summer was always freezing. Always freezing. And that's why they didn't use AC or anything. And that's why she had these long sleeves on in the middle of June in Tennessee. But if she was cold all the time, would she be sleeping on these cold gallons of milk? Justin, I usually don't comment, but I just met Jenkins in person. LOL. You mean Jinkies? If they have nothing else, the fact they haven't been arrested yet say to me premeditation. I think they planned it for a long time. It's very possible. Very possible common sense. To cover bruises. I think those pictures were taken on purpose. Definitely. Look at this photo. Look at this photo. This photo says more than 1,000 words to me. It says way more than 1,000 words to me. It bothers a lot of us, but it bothers most that little boy in the photo. He looks like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. And these kids are normally very hyper. Very, very hyper. You know, they're usually playing around and all of that. This photo, in my opinion, tells me that this little boy knows more. Could be wrong. He could be just sad. He could be just terrified of Don. But it's very bothersome. What did Lake Superior say? He also looks like his dad threatened him. God only knows. So Candace and Grandma accidentally took a video of when she asked to take a pic, but there is a pic to BB Diamond. I think it was taken intentionally. That video, that quick video, she said brainwashing is this. Justin, didn't CPS separate him from the others? I don't really like to talk so much about, you know, the after of them being taken or anything, but I don't know. I don't know if that, I've heard some speculation, but that's, I don't know. It's just really, don't know. I don't think it happened personally before the 15th at all. I mean, we pretty much know it was the 15th. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really sad photo. Here, let me show you guys this. There's
wide open all the time.
Right, but
all right, let me finish this and then we'll go back to, let's go back to Josh's thingy-majigger.
People have said you're the one.
No.
Go ahead.
There is no key to the basement door. I think we lost that.
Okay, what about the deadbolt, brother?
Well, we just lock the regular lock. We don't lock. Well, we'll lock the deadbolt if we're in the house. We can lock the deadbolt from the inside on the basement. We use the upstairs door if we're going somewhere or whatever and lock that one.
Okay, that morning when you woke up to go to work,
Right?
was that door opened or closed, or locked or open?
I assume it was locked because we lock the doors at night. You know.
Okay, so at some point then, if you're assuming it was locked that morning, which way did you go out that door, or did you go back out through the kitchen to go to work?
I go upstairs we go to the kitchen to get in my truck and head to work.
Okay, so you go to work, but that day you didn't take your truck, right?
Yeah, I've used the Subaru the day before.
Mm-hmm.
I had fired Dudley because
Hold on, let me find
of problems until all this happened, and then they want your heart rate to come down to nothing. We could not sleep. We didn't get no sleep at all for 3 days straight.
Mm-hmm.
We was a nervous wreck. We didn't know what to do. I wanted to go out and search. I even asked the police. Like the first day, I Bryce, and she was all,
Everybody, right?
that's right. Yeah,
Okay. And they wanted you to do a poly.
yeah. We both,
And
we all three done
share.
polygraphs, and me and Candace passed our polygraph.
right, but not the first one. I mean,
Okay, but the reason that we couldn't do nothing with the first one, okay, we could not sleep. We didn't get no sleep at all for 3 days straight. We
Mhm.
was a nervous wreck. We didn't know what to do. I wanted to go out and search. I even asked the police. Like the first day, I like I'm gonna go search. I'm gonna go hit up some of these people in this area, and they of course said fine. We got jammed up right there on the road. It was blocked by search teams and police and everything. I mean, Beach Creek and Ben Hill Road was completely blocked.
Right.
It was crazy.
Okay. But so anyway, you eventually get a polygraph, and it was kind of inconclusive, wasn't it?
No, sir.
Okay.
No. Okay, like I said, we haven't slept for 3 days. Well, if you should know
Yeah.
that when you take a polygraph, they want you to be real calm. They put all them devices on you and everything. They want your heart rate to come down to nothing.
So Don is just deflecting the question here. Hey, B. Uh, he just, Don asked if. Okay, thank you, Cher. Um, Don is asking. No, Don is deflecting. Sorry, Chris is asking. But the second, basically the second one was inconclusive. And he's like, whoa, 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 And he's just deflecting. Well, they want your heart to go down to nothing. Shouldn't be hard for you, Don. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me find it. Wrong one here. Patty H, thank you so much. Appreciate you, my love. My love. Thank you, my love. Nose is growing. God, I need to get it fixed again. Just kidding. Not my nose. Not my nose.
You sit in a chair for 10, 15 minutes before they even ask you your first question. Well, since we haven't had no sleep, we don't even make it through. Neither one of us make it through. The first two questions, and we're falling asleep, and that won't work. They can't do that. So they said, go home and do your best to relax and get sleep because we need you to be alert for this test. And that makes sense.
Yeah, that does
That,
make sense.
right, they couldn't even do the test because it was. But when we were able to do the test with our nerve shot and everything else, we both passed. Yeah.
When Candace, when you first
Come on, centers. We're 29 away from 500. Hit me, baby, one more time if you haven't hit that like button yet. Come on. We need 29 more in the bushes. Even if you don't like me, just get it. Get it up.
heard the story from Candace, I mean, I want to take you not from the 911 call, but I want to take you back to help me understand and help us all understand this. You guys had, when you get there, now you're not on a cell phone. What's the first thing you guys talk about?
Well, the police are there, and they're wanting to ask questions.
Right.
Me and her are looking at each other frantically, and we're just lost. We don't know where she's at. We're trying to figure out why the police ain't going to. I'm trying to say, look, she's not here. Well, I know she's not.
Did y'all hear that? Don, listen to this.
You guys had, when you get there, now you're not on a cell phone. What's the first thing you guys talk about?
Well,
Very carefully listen to this, because he starts out to say something and then he catches himself. He's so good at it. He's very good at it. He's like, oh, boom, and then,
police are there, and they're wanting to ask questions.
Right.
Me and her are looking at each other frantically, and we're just lost. We don't know where she's at. We're trying to figure out why the police ain't going to. I'm trying to say, look, she's not.
we're trying to figure out why the police aren't going to whoop. That shows that he's hiding something. That shows deception of something. And why would anyone want to be deceptive about their daughter missing?
Here. Well, I know she's not here. You need to block off the end of a beach creek and go over the mountain and block that. I'm thinking in my head and trying to tell them she's not here. And it's like they couldn't hear me. You
Right.
know, it's,
Okay, but that's you. What were you and Candace talking about?
I really can't remember. We were just mostly miserable and feeling a lot of pain. Knowing her.
You don't know what you talked to your wife about? What?
Our baby's gone and just hoping that something happens and hoping these police can find her quickly. But, they're wanting to question us, but maybe even keeping us separate, maybe.
Oh, they're wanting to question them. They're wanting to keep them separate, maybe. Don has to put maybe in it because it's uncomfortable for him to talk about. That's why he puts maybe in it as well. Interesting, huh? Very interesting.
Kind of.
Okay.
Looking through our house, and then
I'll interview
the
you.
what you call it, team forensics team shows up, and
Okay.
they're asking hard questions. They're wanting some. They're wanting.
What kind of questions were they asking you, Don? Help me understand that so I know what frame of mind they were in.
Well, at one point they told Candace, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. And the one, they kind of the TBI, says we want to know what you did with your daughter or something like that. And Candace went off and told them, "F you." She had tears in her eyes. She just pretty much, go to hell, F off. I mean, and they just like shook their head like that's the kind of response I was looking for, kind of thing like that. You know what I mean?
I don't know if they said that's the response we're looking for. I think it's just another one of, they did, a female officer was very rough on Candace. I know a lot of people thinks that Don and Candace have been handed with kid gloves. And to some extent that may be true, but when the TBI and stuff was there, they gave them a run for their money, the Wells a run for their money. So, especially that female officer, right, Candace?
Yeah. How did you respond? Did you hear that question?
No, they had me somewhere else. That question me. Like I said, I think they just kind of quit keeping us apart.
So did she share that information with you then?
Yes.
Okay. And how about you when
She
you
come to
finally
me.
had a chance, brother, to talk to her one on one? What were you asking her, if you remember?
I don't really remember. We're just both in shock. I mean,
Okay.
that's our baby. We love our kids, man. We love them all very much. In summer, she was just so brilliant, smart, and it was.
Yes, Candace was very upset with the female officer. Um, that was right before they took her down for the lie detector.
We're just not can't hardly believe that she's just gone. I mean, we're both in shock.
Yeah, when
I mean,
well, and then how about the boys? How were you able to keep them, um, you know, so that they're not freaking out either? Tell me about how you interacted with the boys that night.
well, I just tried to comfort them the best I can, but they, the younger ones that didn't seem to bother so much at first, they just went on playing, whatever. But Josie, the older ones, they're old enough to understand more, so it's bothering them some. And I mean, I was sitting outside one evening just in tears, and Josie come out to me and says, "Dad, it's not my fault." And I says, "Josie, I know, son, I know it's not your fault." And we just hugged for a long time. So,
Why do we keep hearing this? It's not my fault. That's very sad to me. It's very sad.
it was, it's a mess. It's a mess.
No, I get it. I get it. I think, and so when, what about other people that showed up? Who's this? Help me understand who this Tim guy is. I've never met the guy in my life, but he has got a lot to say. And
He's a creepy McCreeperson that ever McCreeped in the world.
how did he get involved in this?
We'd all like to know that.
He's just somebody, a good friend, turned out to be a good friend. It's kind of helping me. That's been through all this stuff pretty much all his life and understands it, and is just trying to help me understand, the whole YouTube thing and all the drama and the problems that it creates, all that kind of stuff. It's been pure hell.
Mhm. And so, when did Miss Robin and the pastor David get there?
They tried to come in, but see, they had the police.
Do y'all think there was really something going on with Dotson and Robin? Put a 1 if you do and a 2 if you don't in the chat, please. 1 if you think there was actually potentially an extramarital affair, or 2 if you don't. It's very mixed. Very mixed. Interesting. Only people who can have something to hide do not want the local police authorities, CPS and FBI, to search the grounds of time and try to avoid questions. Absolutely. So it's very split. That's very interesting. Just wanted to see what y'all thought.
Thing. It was parked right outside our door for like, I don't know, a long time, a week, and then they had the road blocked off on Ben Hill for like 2 weeks or something like, yeah, about 3 weeks, I think, for a long time. I mean, nobody was coming in and nobody was going out for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And
Don,
go ahead.
sorry. Why do you think that? Why do you think that Joe? Is it just because he was the oldest? Why he felt that way? I mean, why would he think that this was all his fault, or was he just? I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Well, I think because me and Candace was just so heartbroken that he was seeing how we was feeling, kind of thing, and I wasn't really realizing that I wasn't I'm not the same person at this point. I'm not giving them attention and showing them love like I probably should have. I'm freaking out and I'm not handling it too well. And I don't know why he just come up to me and said it's not my fault. And that's when I just said I know, and I hugged him. And we sit there and hugged for a long time. And
Sure.
I
Yep,
don't
gotcha.
know exactly why.
Well,
So,
somebody says here in the comment, kids say things like "It's not my fault" when parents are upset. Sometimes I don't. I agree with that.
You know,
so, Donnie, well, first of all, I want to, tell you I appreciate having a civil conversation with you.
and the same here, and I appreciate it very much.
Okay, so, and, we may not see eye to eye all the time.
Why would Candace even call Robin? I mean, I don't know. They don't got a lot of people. They're not locals actually there. They're not from there. So, I mean, I can understand, a lot of times you call your church family. So I don't give them any, you know, hard time on that or anything. I think it's just, it's very common to, when something happens in life, is we call people that, we go to church with, practice the same faith with, relate with, are comfortable with. Why did Robin give $10,000 to fix their home? I don't know if that's true or not, to be honest with you. Roxy, member for 10 months. Aren't you just a little sweetie? I just love you for that. Thank you so much. Let's give Roxy a big old clap. Thank you, Roxy. You're sweetie petite. You are. She looks terrified of him too. Who's she? She looks. The pic of Summer bald and her shirt off. Where was that taken? Looks like she is sitting on something with leather backing. Let me see here. Which one was it? I don't know which one you're talking about, to be honest with you. Like a chair. God knows. There's so many big red flags. All I know is, Lord move. Now, I really wonder if Ronnie Lawson is going to retire at the end of the year. That's what I want to know. And if he is going to retire, there'll be a new sheriff in town. And I hope he does something. God, I hope. The very vulture where she was topless. Oh, gotcha. What did I do with that photo? I didn't remember. It should be still. I swear this new computer doesn't save my stuff like it's supposed to. I'm gonna get my old computer back. I like it. New judge, new sheriff, bingo. It sounds like they're clearing it out in Hawkins County. Not enough concrete evidence. You're right, Barb. You're right. Don B got those facts plus he 10,000 given to fix their house. There was a rumor or speculation that, but I haven't seen receipts on that. I mean, if there's been receipts shown, then yeah, but if there's no receipts on it, we can't really say. It would just be speculation, a rumor. I know law enforcement knows exactly what gabbed or happened and are just waiting for Summer to be found. Maybe. I just hope to God. Listen, I mean, Don and Candace, we don't know what's going to happen. Don obviously threatened Mary. And, I think Andrew and them are talking right now with people about Candace, giving them alcohol and other situations. So we just never know. They might be arrested for something else before. In Tennessee, no body means no crime. I don't know. I'm sure that Andrew has no parental rights, Justin. Did he lose all of them? Cher said, unfortunately, yes, he did, but I hope he will stop that. I'm trying to have him stop that crap. Yeah, Cher, because what? Listen, if there is one person, particularly creator, that Dawn should not be on, it's Moomoo's. Because she just agrees with everything. She doesn't give him any pushback. She doesn't question, make him think. It's just, here's the floor, and you can, bash your victims, and you can call people the N-word, and onward and onward. Emailed the picture. Thank you, Asina. Oh, this one. Okay. March 26th. March, April, May, June. Maybe this clears up the pic with milk confusion. Bald picture, clearly dated March 26th. No way she grew that much hair in just 4 days left in March. So if you are still saying milk pic is in March, then it makes sense. No, the milk pic was clearly, it's no. But nobody should have shaved that baby's head like that. She looks like she's got maybe some marks there. But you're asking about that leather couch. I don't know. I don't think she should be You know, it's sad because we don't get to pick our parents. It's not, we don't get to pick what country we're born into. We don't get to pick any of that. Looks like a booth. What's a booth? Oh, like a food, like a table booth? I mean, I don't think she would be shirtless at a table booth, would she? It just looks like maybe a couch to me. That's weird. I don't know. I just wondered, that always stuck out to me. It's an interesting question. You know, where is this taken at? Because who knows? Who knows? All right, guys, I'm at 2 hours. I'll be back 6 o'clock this evening. We are going over an interrogation, and it is the most disturbing case I've ever listened to. I requested the FOIA, got it. Is yesterday Friday? Yesterday. Oh my God. So I'll see you guys later in a little bit. I love you. Hit the like button. Hit the like. You know you want to. Love you all. See you in a little bit. Bye-bye.